Before I go, let's talk about Battle on Buka Street. This movie was directed by Funke Akindele. Battle on Buka Street is a movie in the comedy genre. The movie started up fast paced, very funny, and slowly descended into madness, and finally got to a serious. For me, I feel the plot of Battle on Buka Street is the dysfunctional dynamics of a polygamous home characterized by unhealthy rivalry and competition. The setting of the movie was Ottawa community. The pacing and structure of Battle on Booker Street. A couple of people have discussed with me and I've watched a lot of reviews, and they feel that it was a failed attempt at stitching two separate movies together. And I think this would have to do with the advertising. It was kind of like giving us false hope or misdirection, so to speak. So from the movie, we're expecting the classic Aki and Popo, like a reenaction of a similar scenario to Fuji House of Commotion. So we just expected comedy back to back to back to back. And at the end of the day, it was a movie that had a very serious message in it, and it was very deep, to see that. So for me, I feel that the structure is actually correct in my opinion and my interpretation of it. In unhealthy competition or rivalry, definitely it starts off as fun and games. You're trying to thwart this person's plan. You're trying to be one step ahead of the person. It's all fun and games. There's this adrenaline rush. You're happy, but then slowly it gets really serious. Shit gets serious. Like play, things begin to fall apart, and it was just a slow descent into madness. And that was the same structure of the movie I could see. It started off very serious. Just some little, playing there and there, rats, cockroach. This little petty stuff. And then all of a sudden, we're seeing an explosion, and there should never be a reason for your rivalry to reach the point that's, you know, causing harm to another human being. So I think yes, these things happen. You get caught up in the competition that you lose, focus on reality and morals and exactly what makes sense. You start to lose your mind and your sense of reason. So that was definitely something we could see happening there in the structure. And I feel it was a very important message. We'll come to the message in a bit. Characters. In the Ottawa community, we had Maduka, who had several wives, but the two wives in focus were Ezine and Ashake. Ezine played by Tina Amba, Ashake played by Shola Shobowale. Then we have the daughter of Ezine, Awele, and the daughter of Ashake, Yejide. Let's start with Yejide. Yejide, I would say, would be one of the more grounded of the two daughters. Now, she was in a competition. Obviously, she was so bothered at the arrival of her sister, and she was expecting more rivalry to continue. I felt that she had a lot in her family to deal with, and personally, the time she was using to, conduct or orchestrate this fight against her sister or continue this rivalry, she would have taken the time to learn how to be self-sufficient in the business by learning the trade properly from her mom. At that certain point of her age, I don't think the mother should be cooking for her. Shouldn't be the secret behind the business. She should know how to do it already. And I felt like it was just misplaced priority there. It was good to see like a character build up. What I always love about movies is seeing that growth in the character, along the line. Character starts off as an irresponsible person and along the way, gets to learn. So I like, that growth of character is very, very important. And you could see that intellectual awakening in her when she decided to stop, the fight. To also see that the children were, suffering the stigma of the father being a killer and knowing that she was actually the one responsible for that. We'll come back to that in a bit. Let's talk about Awele, played by Mercy Johnson. A lot of people felt that Mercy Johnson was overacting, and to a certain point, I agree and I disagree. Well, it depends on how the character is being represented. Definitely, I've seen somebody like Awele before. Not up close, but I've seen a personality like that. That's very bitter, angry, lashes out at everybody. So definitely, I would say the character representation was fine. was a little bit funny. Guess what? Guess how many times Awele said battle on the alright. Awele was a bitter woman. Obviously, both daughters were characterized with, like I say, failed marriages, and she was bitter. I think from that, and I think she did not give herself the chance to like improve or get better because there were opportunities in front of her, but she was just having that tunnel vision on the rivalry. She was bitter. She talked to her children anyhow, very hurtful words. These things do happen though. I think it was a little bit far, but these things do happen. She was more interested in winning in the rivalry than what the daughter wanted for herself. She wasn't interested in, okay, my daughter wants this for herself. She wants to be better, her goals, her dreams. Everything is like you exist solely to continue this enactment of madness, complete madness. What happened? We have Maduka, would say he's the cause of everything. When men decide to marry more than one wife, it's a recipe for disaster. Normally, humans compete. Then imagine being in that scenario. You can't divide yourself, and women are very jealous. They want you all to themselves. So, I think yes, he's the orchestrator of all the madness, and it was good to see. When Izini and Ashake were giving him birth, you could see the madness running through his head. I was like, yes, good for it. Let's talk about Ashake. Ashake was played by Shola Shobowale. She came with the same energy as always. Would there ever be a movie where Shola Shobowale is calm? Mom, is it possible? We still wait to see. She brought the same energy from King of Boys, and it was interesting to see. A lot of scenes I would say were maybe overacted, or she was over enthusiastic about it. But it's her. She always gives a wonderful performance every time she shows up on the screen. She's a great veteran, so she did a good job for me. Being the stubborn person that she was in the script, it was really nice. Ezine, I would say yes. Another character again that you could see from the young version of her to her on a dying bed being sick. You could definitely see that there's a revolution. A lot has changed in the character beginning, and there's that awakening. It was good to see. I think reverse was the case. In the case of Ezine and Awele, Ezine was the one tired of the feud and was looking for peace. Awele was like, no, she wants to go. We die here. In the other case, Ashake was the one saying, let's continue doing this. And then Yejide was already tired. Let's talk about Ademide. Played well. Really nice to see. I saw him first in Far From Home. Amazing performance. But it was a little bit annoying. I would say he's the Tariq of power. That character is just annoying. I mean, I will not let anything swat my performance for Ottawa Youth Carnival, making it sound like he's going to perform at O2 Arena or performing for the Oscars or the Grammys or something. Guy, relax. But I think the music was nice too. That was also a nice element. I'm not quite sure if he actually did sing that or if he was lip singing, but the beat was nice, the lyrics were nice, the delivery a little bit, but that was like really good. And I like the fact that movies do this nowadays where they have songs, actually good songs. Like from Gangs of Lagos, we had Chike give us, very, 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 very good song, and he did the same thing here. So I think that was good. Yeah, we could understand, being born with a disadvantage, something hanging over your head, and there's nothing you can do about it. It's absolutely not your fault at all. Like you have talent, you have everything you need to move forward, but things are just holding you back. So again, I understand the annoyance, with his father. Let's look at Lashley, and looking at the dynamic of Lashley and Ejide, it was clear to me, and this is my interpretation. I felt that Ezine realized, or Ezine and Awili realized that, Yejide was bringing somebody, and they just hurriedly went to cook up someone because although they might be two separate people, but definitely you could see that love was there. the sacrifice that he made for the wife and the children, like, is just amazing. So it was just great that this was actually love and all that. Then we have Ebuka or Emeka, the typical gayoyo that beats a lot of sense, away from Awili. So I would think that's what happened. That's my interpretation of it. I do not really know. So another character I should mention should be Kaira and Kaiso. Very annoying characters. These are like people that you just want to squeeze. But I think that was just the script, and interpreted it well. There was something about the lollipop. I don't quite know what it is, but there was just something about it. And it was difficult to tell, what's going on with them. I don't know. It's just something off with the lollipop. I can't. I'm not for it. I'm not against it. I'm just undecided. But they were very annoying throughout the entire movie. The message. I think Battle on Buka Street has a very important message, and these are the trials that we that people face in polygamous homes, and not just polygamous homes per se. Entering into unhealthy rivalry with someone, and just insisting that whatever it is in life, I must be above this person, and you can see how it's tore a lot of things apart, and there are a lot of things they could have focused on to try and build. There wasn't that will I say relationship or closeness with the children. There are a lot of memories you're trying to build and instill, and I think both of them kind of missed it a little bit. Usually they may be, but I really really missed it like completely. We'll look at also parenting. I think another important message in the movie was parenting. And it's very important the kind of values we instill in your children and the type of examples that we set for them. But you could see there's a statement Awele made to Ezine when Ezine was calling for peace. And she said that no, this is what you taught me. And that hits deep. That you can set out something in motion, but it's very difficult to stop it. And it also has to do with conditioning. Whatever it is we learn growing up, it's always very difficult to drop it. Well, a good characteristic of a human being is to learn, unlearn, and relearn things. But definitely, it was difficult because this is what she has known all along. So it was just difficult to just step out of it. Yeah, so that was also a very good message there. I think there were hidden cues in the movie as well concerning the messaging. I would say it's like a tribal thing in Nigeria where our parents or grandparents feel like this tribe they've done this thing to us maybe during the war or something, and they still hold this thing against the other tribe, and then the feud is now generational. So I think that was a deeper hidden nugget there. I think that's my interpretation of it. I do not know if that is what it is, but definitely every story or script, depending on how you look at it, you could see various meanings from it. So yes, what do I not like about Battle on Buka Street? I think the first thing I would say would be the explosion. Let's come to the explosion first. Hmm, I do not believe I have not dealt with kerosene in over 20 years, so I do not really know what kerosene smells like. But one thing I'm sure of is that petrol has a distinct smell from kerosene. So I do not think that is a mistake that could just happen. The only stories I've heard of kerosene are, unadulterated or adulterated, kerosene where they are mixing chemicals and stuff and it explodes. But definitely at the point of turning in, you could smell it. The explosion, I'm not quite sure. It was a good explosion anyways, but you know, I was expecting more damage, I guess, since it's petrol. It was okay. Another scene that was not probable was the fight scene between Awele and Yejide in the market. I mean, taking somebody's Gary, like the market I want to sell, you are fighting, you call carry am, come dey pour. I know there might be some respect for Maduka and Ottawa community, given that he's a respectable person, he's like an elder. But definitely, the Nigeria that I know, it's not probable with people suffering. Definitely, if you are selling at that market, you're trying to, make ends meet. So I don't find it probable at all that you will take somebody's market and show it, and they will be watching you in this Nigeria. Except it's another Nigeria I believe in. It's not possible. Like your fight and that person's fight will pause. They will gather and beat you. You will bring out the money. They won't just allow you be. I felt, the sitting back and just watching the fight in shock was not very realistic. There wasn't even a little bit of, that anger and stuff that we have as Nigerians. You won't spoil my market like me that I'm planning to, pay house rent, school fees, gather up money for something. I don't quite, you know, like that scene. I don't think it was good at all. There was a little scene I noticed in the beginning of the movie. You could see there was a photo shoot going on, and at the time, young Ashake and young Izine were both pregnant. Now, that was what was shown in the beginning. Now, if you look, moving down the movie, there's just a little clip where, present they are panning into, Madika's sitting room, and they pan through that family portrait. And then I noticed something. Young Ashake, played by Bima Ademoye, it seemed like a baby bump was missing. I do not know, is it my eyes or something, but it didn't just seem to have continuity there, but just a very little clue. Yeah, yeah. Something I did not like, I forgot to mention, was when both of them decided to go spiritual. And I feel that it was, is it anticlimactic? It was not, we expected more. It's like they just showed us the scene for the sake of showing us the scene. And then, you know, the Baba said, but it could also be this way. The Baba said if the sponge and the soap falls on the ground, that something bad will happen to her. But actually, we didn't really see any repercussion of that. And I think the fire burning on her was also a message, to, you know, Awele, to, cease and desist from the entire thing. It was funny to see. In a way, it might be a representation of the fact that most of this, holier than thou, or these prophets or religious people that we hold to high esteem, most times is all, fake. It's not real. It's just for show. It's a scheme to make money of people. So yeah, that was definitely, something there in the movie. Um, it was just good to see that growth. I did not like how the movie ended, because there's still a lot for us to know. Did Lashley eventually get justice? Is Lashley still on the run? Now that Awele and Yejide have now that Awele and Yejide are now having, that cordial relationship, and there's some semblance of peace between them, I'd have loved to see Ashake's reaction to all that. Ashake and Maduka's reaction to all that. So that was something very key that I think we missed. Probably there's a sequel to the movie. We don't know. We yet to see. What do I like about the movie? I think the movie was funny. It had a lot of serious messages, to learn from the movie. I like movies that surprise me, because there's one thing clear about, Nollywood. If you watch Nollywood from the days of, Peter Doji, Zach Oji, going all the way back, it's always like when you watch dramas like this, you tend to know where it's headed to even before you go 20 minutes into the movie. You tend to just see that, okay, this is where it's going to. But this movie just, gave us a very rude shock.
Hey! 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 Hey!
is the Centrum. Like, subscribe and share. Just the fact.